Doug Jacob.
Present.
Ari Weiss. Christopher Biltz. James Booth. Christine Mazzola.
Present.
Bradley Kaufman. Patrick Myers. Allison Burke. Dominic Battinelli.
Here.
William Goffin.
Here.
Joseph Marcelino. Daniel Mizell.
Here.
Mordecai Goldfeder. Robert Bristol. Daniel Rodriguez. John Johnstone.
Here.
Martin Grillo.
Present.
James Downey.
Here.
Brenda Morrissey.
Here.
Joseph Schenker. David Benelli. Michael Raiola. Scott Orlansky.
Here.
Mordecai Lax.
Here.
Vincent Barranco.
Present.
Scott Chang.
Here.
Arthur Cooper. Robert Krupe.
Here.
Joseph DiMurato. Manfred Fuchs.
Here.
Gerald Gelbart.
Here.
Jerry Gumbo.
Yeah.
Sean Graves. Yadidra Langsam.
Present.
Dennis Laurie.
Present.
Mitchell Powell.
Here.
Michael Batch. Do a quick count. We have a quorum, so we can go forward.
Okay, great. So hopefully you took a look at the February 27th minutes. Is there any discussion, any issue needs to be raised?
Motion to accept?
Okay, second. All in favor?
Have to let James see if there are any issues.
Okay, so
Before I said anything.
we're going to start with the correspondence report. The Office of the Council received the following correspondence. Joseph Marcelino requested to be excused tonight. The FIDMS submitted his PCR monthly inventory report in non-compliance with PCRs. The New York State Department of Health actually has no enforcement actions. That's a good thing. Other epinephrine order injecting notice of intent from Sustainable Learning DBA Sustainable Summer to be forwarded to REMAC. There's an application from Johnny Dana for PZ Paramedic Scholarship. From the core sponsors, LaGuardia CC is offering an NAEMT Psychological Trauma in EMS Patients course on Sunday, March 18th, and on June 10th and 24th. And NAEMT Advanced Medical Life Support course is also being held on April 22nd and 29th. There was a letter that was received from Universal Emergency Care Training in response to the council rejection of the core sponsor application last month, asking to be reconsidered, which we'll send back to QA committee. There's also messages from the following core sponsors. Oh no, we can skip that.
Yeah.
The Office of the Council sent the following correspondences: agenda, minutes, associate attachments for the meeting, certification form and copy of 2011 BLS protocols to Josh Annenberg, Esquire. A check for $24 was sent to REMSCO as a fee for providing certification and protocols. REMAC advisories were sent to all EMS agencies in New York City and posted to REMSCO's website, including 2018 to 03 REMAC advisory BLS mandatory.
Yes.
And there's also a FirstNet information flyer that was received. And actually we're going to do this evening, we're going to go a little bit out of order. This is a presentation by FirstNet. Okay, we're going to let them go next. So any questions about the correspondences? Any issues? Okay.
Hi, so, good evening. So in January, when I was at the State EMS Council meeting, I think I mentioned this to you all in February, that the State Department of Health brought to our attention that we would be receiving information from FirstNet, and that if someone called or contacted us, we should pay attention to the information that they were going to be presenting to us with AT&T. So we started, I did pay attention to the first email I got, and we have been on a roll. And we now have this evening presentation from the FirstNet folks. So this way you will get an inkling of what it's all about, and then when they reach out to you, you can take it from there as your own agencies. So
Thank you.
who you,
Thank you very much. My name is David Cook. I work for the Department of Commerce in the federal government. I'm a federal employee. I'm not a vendor, I'm not a manufacturer. I am a user. I am a emergency responder with more years than I wish to disclose, and I'm still an active responder. And we're here tonight to discuss the National Public Safety Broadband Network. We're not here to talk about land mobile radio. We're here to talk about broadband and data communications. Is there anybody here tonight that doesn't have a phone with them? How about that? What can you do with your phone? You can make a picture with it. You can make video with it. You can play games with it. You can look up all the information known to man. What can't you do with your phone?
Make a phone call.
You can't make a phone call. Why can't you make a phone call? And you're absolutely correct, because you can't reach the tower, or because there's so many people on it, you can't get space on it, right? You can't get it wet. You can't drop it. What happens if you drop it? They break. Well, we are changing the way you do business. You want a phone? We are changing the way you do business. We are changing the devices. We are making them secure so that emergency responders don't have to worry about getting them wet, dropping them, shocking them. Firefighters will be able to use them with gloves. Police officers will have accessories that can't be ripped off them. And my job, my sole job, is to ensure every one of your agencies knows about FirstNet. I got to ask you, how many people here have heard of FirstNet before tonight? A few. Could any of you go home and tell your spouse what it is? Not so much. Well, you will before the night's over. So we are here because Congress created us. It's a law. It's not a pet project of any politician. It's the law. FirstNet is going to be developed in every one of the 56 states and territories in the country. And we contracted with a vendor to produce this National Public Safety Network. And they're here tonight from AT&T because we told them to come here. They work for me. I work for you. My job is to make sure that they deliver what you need so that your communications going forward are better than they have been in the past. And with that, I'd like to introduce Steve Sasso. And I don't know if your colleagues want to join you now.
He's going to join me in a few minutes. That's a tough act to follow. This presentation is going to go a little quicker because you covered some stuff already, so thank you. Thank you. I'll go even quicker now, thanks. My name is Steve Sasso. I'm a principal consultant with the AT&T FirstNet program. I'm not a salesperson, but I can bring the salespeople and equipment vendors and everything you need together. We're going to do a presentation tonight. Well, first of all, I want to thank the council very much. This is my third visit here. Thank you, REMSCO. You're a great partner. Thank you for the invitation. I hope we don't disappoint you tonight. I'm sure we're not going to, but thank you very much. We've got 25 or so slides. We're all from New York, so we talk fast, which is fine. We're going to hold Q&A for the end if that's okay, in the interest of time, because I know you have a meeting and dinner too, probably. So, and our goal tonight is not for you to walk out an expert on FirstNet. It's a very, very high level, very quick, basic understanding, because our ultimate goal is for myself and the extended teams, many of them are not even here, to come out and meet you individually, meet your agencies, meet your departments, to either review this all again, which is fine, because that's our job, or to take the next step with whatever that might be, solving some of your communications challenges. I'd like to play a 1-minute video, if I might, and hopefully this will work. I've been practicing. No, didn't work. Let's try that again. Presentation's getting shorter by the minute. I've seen this video hundreds of times, but I still enjoy it because, for me, it best embodies the spirit of the FirstNet mission. FirstNet, or the roots of FirstNet, can really be traced back to the events that happened here on September 11th. I was here in New York, and I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, were also here. On that day, it became evident that the reliable, interoperable, dedicated and secure, dedicated to public safety broadband network that first responders had been asking for a long time needed to become a reality sooner than later. My colleague from First Responder Network Authority already mentioned this a little bit. Fast forward from September 11th to March of last year, so just about a year ago, FirstNet and AT&T entered into a 25-year partnership to build and manage the nation's first and only broadband network dedicated to first responders. And by leveraging AT&T solutions, we're delivering that network to all 50 states, territories, and tribal today. FirstNet is a network that puts first responders first through exclusive features like priority and preemption. And we're going to do a little bit of a demonstration on that. But it's more than just a network. It's an entire ecosystem of devices, network deployable vehicles, and applications, all built and designed for first responders with first responders in mind. This is what I like to say, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is a little view into the partnership that we have with FirstNet. Again, we're delivering that FirstNet network today by leveraging $180 billion of AT&T existing network. AT&T is putting another $40 billion just into FirstNet for you, for the network that first responders, by the way, helped us build and design and imagine by your input over the years. And there's another maybe close to $7 billion in success-based funding, which means there's a lot of money on the line that we're not going to get, or AT&T's not going to get, if we don't do what we say we're going to do. Unlike other companies, and unlike the commercial side of AT&T, by the way, we can't just make a best effort. We have some very specific milestones in our contract that must be hit, and maybe Mr. Cook can answer questions on that later. So I talked about network deployable vehicles. You've all seen these, I'm sure. These could be a small trailer up to a SAT, Colt we call it, cell on wheels, cow, cell on light truck, Colt. They bring network where it once existed and no longer, or never existed, but now you need it for a temporary period. We have 120 of these now. They're used for all kinds of different events. Some of them could even be a golf outing. But we're building 72 dedicated just to FirstNet that are available to you for disaster-oriented events. We have I'm not going to go into the details here today, but we have very specific SLAs on once that deployable has been approved, how quickly it's going to get to you. They bring their own power. They bring their own satellite for backhaul. Again, they can put up a mast and create broadband coverage for you during an emergency or an event. It doesn't have to be an emergency. It could be the New York City Marathon. It could be the 5-borough bike tour, something like that. But they're available only to FirstNet. So there are two basic kind of users in FirstNet: primary users and extended primary users. There are two subcategories within primary users that my colleague Abacar Gonzalez is going to discuss, and I'm going to steal his thunder. But the best way to remember this is, when you call 911, a primary user shows up: police, fire, EMS. An extended primary user, who can also take advantage of FirstNet, is called by you to shut off the gas and electric, restore the gas and electric, close the road, clean up the road. It could be any number of things. So I talked about exclusive features, some of the basic things that separate FirstNet from a commercial broadband network. Stick with me here. This road illustrates the airwaves, our network. On a normal day, everything's fine. There's no congestion. You see first responders in the left lane. You see extended primary, the road department, DOT in the middle lane. And you see what I call Joe commercial user like me. Those are not taxi cabs, but they could be. In the right lane. And nothing's going on, so everything's fine. Now, a crisis occurs. Well, more first responders are getting on the network. More extended primaries are getting on the network. So far, everything's still good because you have priority. Crisis worsens. More first responders are taking up the airwaves. You see Joe commercial user has been completely pushed off to another channel, or in an extreme situation, off the network altogether. That's leaving space for you. And this is probably a worst possible case scenario. I'm thinking about taking this slide out, actually. Even some extended primaries are getting pushed off. The network stays open for first responders. I have another quick video a little bit later in here that is a real life how it works that we use at an event. Because again, it doesn't necessarily have to be in an emergency. Priority and preemption could be very important anytime you have large groups of people together. Again, marathon, 5-hour bike tour, anything like that. So let me stop this for 1 second. Okay. Philadelphia Super Bowl parade. An enormous crowd of people. Lots of first responders on the scene in case anything happens. Everybody had a phone in that crowd. Everybody was uploading video, taking video, downloading things. We took 3 phones, and I'll start the video in a second, but on the left is an AT&T commercial phone. In the middle is a FirstNet phone, all basically the same devices, and on the right a Verizon phone. They hit go, and they all attempt to download a weather app at the same time, right in the middle of the parade. It's 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, go. Yeah. Go.
There they go. Might be hard to see. They're trying to download, connect to the internet. FirstNet is up. That FirstNet user has access to the network, access to apps, access to voice and text, access to push to talk.
And Steve, why did he get that access so quick?
Because he has priority.
He has priority.
He has priority on the network. Oops, sorry, I got so excited I hit the button. All right, well, I think you got the idea. Let me tell you what happened. I'll go right to the punchline here. You saw FirstNet look in the middle load pretty quick. What you didn't see is that AT&T, the commercial AT&T loaded next, and then Verizon last. Now, I gotta be honest with you, for everybody in this room, it doesn't matter to me after FirstNet loaded first who came second. The fact that I'm an AT&T employee for 23 years, it's icing on the cake that AT&T loaded next. And I'm not surprised. But the most important thing is that FirstNet loaded first, and it loaded quickly. So I talked earlier about the devices and ecosystem. You know, as David mentioned earlier, it could be anything from an iPhone that you carry today on FirstNet to an Apple Watch and anything in between. Ruggedized devices that we're getting to now. Tablets, data-only devices, and wearables. Trunk-mounted modems. We sell many of these to police and EMS. Ruggedized laptops. That Sonom device that's only on the right is floating around someplace. You can use that, of course, for anything you could use any cell phone for. Ruggedized, mil-spec, and it's a great device to integrate into your LMR system via. And that, by the way, is a meeting for another day. Accessories, you've all seen these, you all use these today. Charging cases and clips, remote speakers and mics, headsets. Again, our job is when we speak to you later, whenever we're gonna have a meeting again, to understand your challenges and bring the right people together, whether it's salespeople to activate devices, whether it's an equipment manufacturer, whether it's an application that you might need, or you currently are using and need our assistance. That's what we do. Security is important. We're building Security Operations Center dedicated, a couple of them, 2 or 3 of them, dedicated to public safety. One of them not too far away in Bedminster, New Jersey. 24/7 end-to-end encryption, ICAM integration for when you want to access your own applications quickly. FirstNet landing page is kind of like the commercial version of Premier. That's where FirstNet customers can do anything they need to do on their account. They can manage devices, they can order devices, they can change security levels. The local control interface is part of the FirstNet experience. That's where the curtain on our network is pulled back for you, not the commercial user. That's where you get visibility into our network, the network activity, what's up, what's challenged. You have an overlay for weather and roads, so you get a perfect visibility into what's going on a regular day and during an event. And then the application store. You're not going to find Candy Crush on there or Angry Birds, sorry. Our application store, which is when we're constantly working with app developers and certifying new applications, these applications are all for public safety and the special needs of public safety. And the recurring theme throughout this presentation is dedicated, because everything is dedicated to you. Dedicated support. FirstNet users have their own customer service, 24/7 by 365, based in the US, trained specifically to handle the customer service needs of first responder communications. Emergency disaster support. When a large event is happening, you have the ability to tie in to this part of customer service to manage anything that's going on with your account, whether it's elevating extended primaries where you may be having a problem. They will hold your hand during the event to make sure everything is going as smoothly as possible. And I'm hitting this the very, very top of the waves here, so I apologize, but we've got a lot of information. That brings us, I said earlier, there are two kinds of responders, two kinds of users, primary and extended primary. Within primary, there are two types. Agency paid, you know what that is, and then subscriber paid. Many of us carry our own devices, but we use them for work. Whether we're volunteers or we're paid EMS, doesn't matter. We have our own devices that we're responsible for. Shouldn't you have FirstNet on that device? You should. And I'll tell you something else about all the value in FirstNet. There's a lot of value in priority and preemption that you could charge a commercial user a lot more to have. But you don't get charged extra with AT&T. In fact, our plans, which we can't go over today, but Abakar could talk a little bit about the subscriber plans, are more competitive than most things that you'll find on the commercial side. And no throttling on the data. Is that a good intro?
That's great. Thank you, Steve.
Forward and back.
So as Steve mentioned, my name is Abakar Gonzalez. I am the retail specialist for FirstNet. I am in charge of the states of New York and New Jersey. That being said, in a nutshell, I am your specialist when it comes to the subscriber paid program under FirstNet. Okay, so I'll get into exactly what that means. So Steve mentioned we've got two types of users. One is when the public calls 911. The other one is when our first responders need support. That's our extended primary users. Within that umbrella of our primary users, we've got our agency paid users, which is essentially when you guys get devices and you guys pay the bill, meaning the agency. Then we've got subscriber paid, which is when a personal device, which everybody in this room may have, is also eligible for FirstNet. One device per user. And we'll get into exactly how that program works. So, once again, every first responder is eligible for a personal device to be on the FirstNet network. That basically means that the phone that the head of the NYPD has on that priority network can get the same exact benefits as the phone for one of our volunteers that's also on that priority network. Every first responder will have access to priority and preemption, even through their personal device. Okay, so you're able to get one phone number, one personal number on FirstNet, and you can transfer your family's personal lines onto AT&T. And I intentionally said FirstNet and AT&T. Consider us two separate providers when it comes to this particular aspect. Here are the few rules that respond to for subscriber paid. Each first responder is allowed one FirstNet line on the subscriber paid FirstNet account. Just one. That particular line can be a smartphone or a tablet. It cannot be a standalone hotspot or a mobile tethering device. FirstNet priority and preemption on the network will be included for that first responder. Same as the no data throttling that Steve mentioned earlier. You will not be slowed down, you will not be throttled, even though this is your personal device, and at times you may be doing YouTube, you may be doing Netflix. That's perfectly understandable. However, in times of emergency, you will have priority and preemption, and you will have data speeds at full-blown speeds at your disposal with no throttling whatsoever. Okay? Dedicated customer support center and account management portal. You will have your own dedicated portal solely for your FirstNet device, even if it's on your personal line. Okay? And you will have your own customer service center dedicated to support you and only you, not your commercial users. And the last piece on there is the eligible FirstNet pricing, which I will share with everybody today in regards to what pricing you get as a first responder for your subscriber paid line of service. Now, in regards to your families can also come onto AT&T. They will be on a separate account. So you will have a FirstNet account with your one FirstNet line. You will have your family members on a separate AT&T account. You will receive 2 bills. On that family account, you are eligible for discounts and consumer promotions that may be going on, such as if there's a bundle going on in regards to I've got 4 lines on my family plan, I'm receiving a $30 discount because I have 4 lines, that $30 discount will still apply. The buffer that meets both accounts is the billing address. As long as the billing address matches, AT&T will ensure that that family account still receives the discount that first responder has because of the fact that they're on a separate plan. And we will answer questions towards the end as well. The other piece is offers and promotions. So like I mentioned, billing address has to match on both. We will also help you offset any charges that you have with your other providers. If you already have AT&T, it's a simple migration. We can migrate your line over to FirstNet. If you have a different carrier, we can offset your cost up to $650. So if you have a financial agreement with another provider and you come over to FirstNet, we can trade in that device, we can get you a new one, and we will help you offset any costs that you may have with the other provider as well. Okay? So, the contracting vehicle that we are utilizing in order to enable the subscriber paid program in the state of New York is known as npp.gov. This particular contracting vehicle is a well-known GPO which can enable us to have subscriber paid pricing matching state level pricing of New York, which like I mentioned, I will share with you guys as well. And here it is. So today, typically on an unlimited plan with AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, on average you're looking at anywhere from $90, $85 just for the plan itself, apples to apples. On FirstNet, that same plan with tethering capabilities, you're looking at $48.99. One of the main points of that RFP was to make sure that we had affordable rate plans for our first responders. And here's the proof. Okay, so on that FirstNet plan, you're eligible for tiered data plans. If you have a flip phone, I haven't seen any of those on the tables out here, but you have a flip phone. Everybody's looking around. If there's a flip phone out here, that flip phone on FirstNet, you're looking at $15.99 per month. As far as devices, business as usual. Whatever you're paying for your device as a consumer is what you will pay on that FirstNet plan, just for the subscriber paid aspect. On agency paid, different story. There's a lot of devices that are free. That one you guys were passing around, that's a free device for agency paid users. Subscriber paid, you will have the, again, business as usual pricing on devices, whether it's financed or purchased at full price. The discount and the benefit you get, besides the priority and preemption and the ecosystem of the application store, the care, the support, is the pricing on the actual rate plans. Okay? So, that being said, I want to take you guys through just a real quick overview of what that step-by-step process looks like. It's not as simple as a volunteer or a first responder walking into an AT&T store and saying, I'm here to activate FirstNet. It's a bit more complex than that. Obviously, these are government entities or private first responder entities that have to be handled slightly differently. So first piece is, we'll have a meeting with you guys. You will decide on who is your administrator in order to manage your account and manage your local control portal. Once that administrator is selected, we have to make sure you have your free NPP.gov membership, which again is the contracting vehicle that would allow us to get that pricing for you. Once that's complete, we will create a custom pricing agreement for you. That administrator or whoever is authorized to provide a signature for that agreement is essentially agreeing to administer manage, add, or remove users from having the benefit of being a subscriber paid user under that agency. That administrator will not, I repeat, will not have access to look at that first responder's subscriber paid device. You can't look at their bill. You can't look at the phone calls they've made. You can't look at who they've called, who they've contacted. You can only either add them to the list, which gives them access to get a subscriber paid line, or you can remove them from the list. The purpose of that is that administrator has to make sure that they manage the rights to who has access to FirstNet from a subscriber paid basis. That is your responsibility. There is no financial responsibility to the agency whatsoever. Okay? Financial responsibility falls on the end user. It's their account, it's their personal account. They have the FirstNet privileges that are tied to that account. That's what you guys manage. So, once that piece is complete, the administrator activates their FirstNet portal, they upload their users. Once all the users are uploaded, every individual user, including the administrator themselves, if they're participating, will receive a unique FirstNet account code. That code will give them the access to walk into an AT&T store and activate their subscriber paid plan. Without that code, they cannot activate a subscriber paid account with AT&T FirstNet. Okay? So, we will have collateral available for you guys. Once we have the individual meetings with each agency and each department, we can obviously share collateral for the end user. We've given them what they're expected to see, what that email represents, some Q&As on there as well, and we will have collateral for the agency themselves as far as that administrator, what they need to do, what they're responsible for, and what the simple steps are for them to manage. Okay, so Steve, I'll bring you back over.
Okay,
Recap.
we're very near the end. Thank you, Avatar, that was great.
Yes, sir.
So a quick recap before we get to Q&A. Primary users, that's the ones who respond to 911 will always have first access to the network, coverage where public safety needs it, a highly secure network, devices, applications, competitive rate plans, some of which we just saw, local control for network status and ability to elevate user priorities, and dedicated support. We already did Mr. Cook. You can stay connected here.
So FirstNet.gov, go back there, please. FirstNet.gov is the authority. FirstNet.com is the solution. That's the AT&T solution. I want to recap just a couple of things myself if I can. We talked about the fact that this all started on September the 11th. Everybody knows after September the 11th they had a commission report. The last unmet mandate of the commission report was to do something about communications, and this is that solution. And the reason that there was that requirement for an administrator to upload who your users are and who to put on and take off is because it is a public safety network and we want to maintain the security of it. You have to have a little bit of ownership if you're going to play in the game. We didn't go into a whole lot of detail about all of the extras that are behind the First Responder Network Authority.
I'm happy to do that, though.
Please just understand that this is the only dedicated public safety network nationwide that there is. It's the only one. There's other vendors coming out with other solutions. This one is monitored by the government. If they don't sign up, the minimum number of users that we have stipulated, they get fined billions of dollars. The reasons that we want users on it is so that it's successful. If one of you decide to go on a vacation somewheres, you'll be able to have instantaneous connectivity with your base. If you're an officer and your agency wants to call you, you'll get service. It has to be built, it has to be available in every one of the 50 states, 5 territories, and the District of Columbia. But what we didn't tell anybody yet is you don't have to use it. There's nothing compelling you to sign up for this. The only thing that would make you want to sign up for this, it has to be better than you have today. And if it isn't, I need to know about it because I'm going to hit him with a stick.
And we're ready to prove that it is better.
It's voluntary on your part, and our goal is to make it better than you have today. You can't get on the phone because it's full. That'll never happen again. You're at the top of the queue. Sir.
Is wireless priority service included in it?
Is wireless priority services included in it? You're talking about the WEPs and
Reps and gets, yes.
gets and those other things? They're included from the aspect that you have the guaranteed access to the network, right? Whether or not who you're calling has access to their network, we don't know.
So you can add, this would be an add-on also to the,
Well, it's the access to the network that WEPs offers, that's what this offers, right?
We're gonna open it up to Q&A, so any questions that you guys may have, either for Dave, myself, Steve, you guys can feel free to ask us.
All right?
And it's getting too close.
I actually want to suggest, because we need to get on with our schedule.
Thank you
You'll stick
very much
around.
for your time.
They'll be available afterwards, you can ask any questions and spend as much time as you like on that.
Sure, and I have lots of
Okay,
cards.
okay,
And
thank you.
again, our ultimate goal today was to give you a very high-level view. We want to come out and meet you at your convenience, meet your agency, meet you individually. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, before we get on our meeting tonight, I'd just like to take a time out, okay, just for a moment of silence for firefighter Michael Davidson and your company 69, who made the ultimate sacrifice in the Harlem Blaze.